welcome to the show, April.
Hi, thank you.
Welcome to the new show. This show's newer. You were on MJs Progress Not Perfection, talking about addiction, and a lot of guests on this show come from that show, because a lot of those guests will touch on trauma and focus on addiction, and this one is more like focus on trauma, touch on addiction, and because it's all rooted in the same, a lot of it leads to the other, and they're all kind of connected. But I noticed that trend of the trauma over the years. I've been doing MJs since July of 2021. I have over 250 episodes out, and I noticed a lot that like 90% trauma. I'm like, I need to hear more about trauma. I went to school to be a therapist originally before I dropped off for drugs and alcohol reasons. And now I'm 39, and my wife has MS, and I need to be here with them. And I love doing these shows, and I don't care about having a degree, and I don't give a shit about that. I can have fun with this. No one's gonna sue me,
Right?
So, I started this show, The Unlicensed Therapist, and it's just us having a conversation. You're not telling your story, just having a conversation. Where did you grow up, April?
I grew up in Hillsboro, Ohio, rural. Like, it's a little town, but I was actually in a little suburb out in the country first. That's where I lived with my biological father, and stepmother came into play there. And then when I was 16, I moved with my mom to Hillsboro. So
okay, I've never lived in Ohio. I've lived in 5 states, and I've never lived in Ohio, Massachusetts. I'm from South Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, North Carolina, and California. And I know so many people from Ohio from my shows. It is wild. And a lot of them don't even know each other. I just keep on finding people from Ohio with trauma and addiction.
There's a lot of us out there.
Okay, now I feel like we jumped from 0 to 16. Let's backtrack back there to 0. You said a key word that sticks out to me. You said you grew up with your biological father. Now, when someone calls somebody a biological father, it means they're not really a great father. And how am I doing there?
Oh, perfect. That's a great description.
Or else you just call him dad.
Huh?
Or else you just call him dad.
No, I call him biological father because he was a pedophile, and he abused me and my siblings sexually. And he did nothing to protect me from my stepmother, from her abuse, or physical, mental, psychological, verbal, all of that. So yeah, I call him.
Where was your mom?
My mom took off it when I was 8 because, she just couldn't take it anymore.
Okay, so you said siblings. We're gonna bounce around. You know me. You said siblings. How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 full siblings, same mom, same dad. I have another brother who is same mom, different dad, and then I have another brother younger than that, same mom, different dad. Okay.
Now, you and your other siblings are they older than you? The first, or you?
I'm the oldest, and we're all 2-year intervals, except for number 4 and number 5. They're 4-year interval in between.
Okay, for now, I want to focus on the first 3 because you all the same mom and dad from before your mom split when you were 8. So 2 is when your other sibling was born, and then 4, your other sibling was born. By 8, your mom left.
So brother was 6, sister was 4, other sister was 2. Yeah.
All right. Was your mom dealing with any kind of abuse with your dad? Your biological father? No. Did she know what was happening with your biological father and you guys?
She didn't know until she knew.
And then she left.
Yes. She took the 2 youngest kids because he had, like, I don't know. She said that once I got so old, he stopped abusing me.
Yep.
So she took the 2 youngest ones to protect them.
That happens so often. Is you age out. That's what they call it. You age out. I'm sure you've been in therapy. I'm sure you heard it, but that's
Oh yeah.
For people watching, you age out eventually where it's not an attraction anymore. That sounds so weird to say, creepy, but that's the reality of the situation here. Now, how old were you when he first started abusing you?
I don't know.
Okay.
I did go to therapy and I've blocked all of that out. I just know that he did. I caught him with my sister. So, I know he did.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid. And
Yeah.
a family member, what is strange is a family member had told me that when she was a teenager, that he was doing stuff to her. And I'm like, that's very strange,
Because
but
you're old. Yeah, you're
yeah,
older.
because she was older. So I don't know. He just didn't. He liked to spank us with a belt and stuff like that, but he didn't sexually abuse us, like at least me, after I was like over 8.
Old, yeah.
So
And I've also heard progressions over time. Where how much older was your dad than was it your cousin or your aunt? You said
I just said a family member.
family member. Okay, that's all we need to know.
Yeah.
How old was that family member and how old was your dad? 13.
She was, I think, 14 or 15,
Okay.
and he was in his 20s.
Okay. And it could have been a progression thing where he just
Yeah,
found an attraction. Do you know if this family member looked young for her age?
she did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then maybe, he felt something out of that and he was like, I need to chase this feeling. And then he saw an opportunity when he started having kids of his own, when he was alone with kids. And I don't know. I wish we knew. It's a weird thing to wish you knew the inside of pedophiles' minds.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard some of the craziest shit. And I hate to say I'm numb to it now.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me think like a lot of whys, obviously, why are you doing this? Why are you attracted? But it's like, you ever think about something that happened to your dad when he was growing up?
Oh, I know it did.
Okay.
So I did. I did a little digging through some medical records when I was in my 20s, and I found that my biological grandfather, his father, had been hospitalized multiple times for schizophrenia. He had been would get put in the hospital. Like, we'd be like, "Where's Grandpa?" He'd get put in the hospital, and it because he was trying to touch the neighbor girl. She was the like Down syndrome, or she was going to the Hills and Dales.
Yeah.
I don't want to say what it was called. The
No,
school
yeah,
for
yeah,
back then they used different wording, and
yeah.
it's for a slow developed
Mentally, yeah.
disability. Yeah.
Developmentally challenged.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
We got it. Look at the
Sometimes
two
I can't think of words.
I know.
But anyway, yeah, he would get caught trying to touch the neighbor girl, and they'd put him in the hospital and they'd blame his schizophrenia. And there was
Back in the
many.
50s and 60s. How old? I'm 39. How old are you, April?
I was born in 72. I'm 52.
Okay, so this is back even before then.
So it had to have been in the 70s, because I remember him going, missing, because grandma, my biological father's mother, she would babysit us when he would go to work. So, we'd go over there, and sometimes grandpa would be there and sometimes he wouldn't. And, now those blank spaces when he wasn't there made sense. And the times when he was there, and I remember he'd lay in the bed and he'd kick and, rock back and forth and, make all weird noises. And it's like, okay, now it makes sense. All of these things that we witnessed when we were over there, it didn't make sense at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy's weird, but
so you're your brother and your sister.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna say you're 8. We're gonna go from there, 8, 6, and And you walked in. Did you ever do anything to your brother too, or is this more girls?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you walked in on him and your sister at one point.
My siblings, my two sisters were over, went 4
Okay.
and 2. They were over because the court gave him visitation. My mom got custody, gave him visitation, so they came over, and he came and got her out of our bed and put him in the bed with him.
Jesus
You know,
Christ.
so I know it was still going
Yeah.
on. And there was another time, God, I hope my sister doesn't mind me disclosing
Well,
this stuff.
you're using names. We're not using any names, so.
But you know, older when he had married my stepmother, and my sisters were there, and by that time he got custody because my mom was with a black guy. And in Ohio in those times, and like they were like, no, you can't have your kids, and they took her kids from her and gave them to him.
Yeah.
And anyway, so one night my stepmother came in and basically pulled my sister's pants down and said, if you're going to do it, just do it in front of us. We know you're doing it.
Awesome.
And that's the kind of woman that she was. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she said that he was cheating on her at another time and slapped him across the face. And he just sat there and took it. You know, he was a very introverted, very intellectually, very smart man. He, you know, but
Unfortunately, a lot of them are. Unfortunately, a lot of them are very intelligent.
but he was just a very timid and like quiet and, you know, to himself.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who are like that are like that.
Yeah.
So
Now, when did she enter the picture? How old were you when all of a sudden he started dating? Like, did he date her for a while before they got married, or was
no,
it a fast courtship?
like he moved her right in.
Awesome.
Like not too long after my mom was gone, he moved her right in. You know,
Okay.
and she started in with the abuse. My sisters had to clean the living room, my brother had to clean the dining room, and I had to clean the kitchen. You know, she had her own little Cinderella, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly what I just thought of in my head is little Cinderellas.
And they would leave me alone with them. I was the babysitter while they went to work and stuff, and they would work till like, you know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and then come home.
Did they work together?
Mhm.
They worked. Oh, so he knew her from the office. They're
Mhm.
not. Wherever
Yeah.
they work. You know, we're not going to get into that. But
Yeah, from the factory.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, from a factory. So that's. I was wondering. You know, this is. You know, obviously this is the '80s, early '80s, late '70s.
Mhm.
How the hell is he all of a sudden just moving some girl in
Mhm.
just on a dime? You know, because nowadays, like, oh, we talked on Tinder for a while, or we're talking on Bumble for, you know, and you can get to know somebody
Like
for a little bit.
I don't even remember them getting married. Like that's how not a part of that relationship. I don't even remember them getting married. I
Yeah.
just knew that she was my stepmom. And, you know, so she would start in if we didn't have the everything cleaned up, start beating us. And
Now,
so
what did she want to be addressed? Did she ask you to address her by something? Like, I'm a stepdad, but my stepson calls me JD because that's what I feel weird saying anything else.
yeah.
I'm like, call me JD, dude.
We addressed her by her name first. And
Okay.
then when I got the smart ass, you know, saying her name in a smart ass way, she's like, you will call me mom.
Oh yeah.
And and it's still to this day, I cannot call my mom. I can't call her mom. I call her mommy. And I may be, you know, it may sound weird to somebody else, but if you knew my history and that I had to call this insane person mom, and I could not even get that word out of my mouth to call my mommy. I couldn't call her that. So first she had us call her first name, and then it was mother. And then when I got the smart ass, you know, twang to that, then it was mom. And so we had to call her mom.
Would she hit you?
She hit me. She called me names. She physically, mentally, psychologically, verbally abusive.
Would she use object or her hand?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Like one time, this is the insanity. One time, she taught me how to cook, and she would have me cook dinner to have it ready for them. And she brought home new school clothes. Okay. And this was 80s. So back then they had the trash bag skirts, the zippers on the side and stuff. And so she got me these in style hip new clothes, and I was trying on, and all of a sudden I remembered, oh crap, something in the oven. I got to go get it out of the oven. So I ran to the kitchen in this skirt and top that she had bought me. And which, she would do that every now and then to be like, oh, look at me, I'm doing good for you kids.
Mom of the year, or not, Mom of the year.
Yeah. And I'm in there taking the stuff out of the oven, and she's like, what the are you doing? Are you trying to get your dad to fuck you? Like, because I had this skirt on and I was bent over getting something out of the oven. So she's accusing me of trying to sleep with my father, and I'm like, no, I'm just getting dinner out of the oven. Like, what? And it was the crazy stuff like that would come out of her mouth and, she would call me fat, ugly. She told me I was a piece of shit, that I was never going to amount to anything, that I was just like my mother, that set me in front of pornos and told me that I needed to learn how to suck a dick because that was the best I was ever going to be, was a prostitute.
Awesome.
That kind of stuff. And, that stuff replayed, how that stuff replays over in your head when you have that kind of abuse. And that stuff replayed in my head all the way up until even after I got sober.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that voice in my head that was chattering, replaying that stuff that she told me. And it was telling me that I'm ugly and I'm a piece of shit and, never going to amount to anything and all of that kind of stuff. I didn't understand that that's not me doing that.
That was her projecting her insecurities.
Yes. And then I internalized it because I replayed it over and over, hurting myself over and over because I didn't know any better.
Yeah, I mean, she had a screw loose. We know that. She had a couple of screw looses to move in with a guy that had a bunch of kids, and then to find out real quickly that this guy you're moving in with is raping and abusing these kids, and then to be okay with it and stay. And then to, like, on top of that, verbally and mentally and physically abuse them. Not sexually, right? She would do everything.
She didn't sexually abuse us, but her brothers did.
Okay.
So, I had some trauma there too. So it was a whole family of insanity.
You had memory of those because you were older?
Yes.
How old were you the first time you have a memory of that?
When her brother did things to me, 9, 10, 11. I mean, how
old was he?
Even at 12. He was late 20s. One of them was late 20s. One of them was early 30s at the time.
They both
would. It was two brothers.
And
two of her brothers. Yeah, one pretty much like had me naked on top of him naked without penetration, but still, like riding on him. And it, like, I didn't know that was wrong. I didn't know. Nobody ever taught me what was right and what was wrong when it came to sex abuse. I didn't know.
You can't Google it to figure it out in 1981.
I didn't know until I hit like high school, and then I got raped at 16. And, I used it as an excuse because I got caught with pot at school. And I'm like, but you don't understand. I was raped, and I'm using that to cope with this. And, I never addressed that. I just used it as an excuse. It was addressed later on in life, but
Now,
not at that time.
when these brothers, they would come over frequently, or was it here and there?
She actually had them watching us as babysitters.
Both of them?
Just the one was the babysitter. The other one, he abused me when we went to visit her mom, and he lived in her mom's house.
Okay.
And I was put on the couch in like the room between the living room and it was like a sitting room.
Mm-hmm.
And they had me there, and he was tickling my feet to get my legs apart. And like to this day, I still have issues with people tickling my feet. It's gotten better, but
trust, I'm sure, needs to be a lot of trust needs to be there. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so fucked up. Now I know you're an addict too, because that's how we met.
Yes.
Refresh our memory, because we haven't talked about that in a year. What did you discover first, drugs or alcohol, and how old were you?
I started pretty soon after my stepmom came to the house when she started in with her abuse. They would keep the liquor in the cabinet above the refrigerator. Okay. And I started taking nips at age 8.
Yeah.
Out of that. And,
now, how did you know that would do something for you to make you feel better?
Because she gave us drinks and mixed with her psych meds.
What?
And and she liked to watch us like get lit. Yeah. So I knew that it would make me sleepy.
Yeah.
So like I would stay up very, very late and make sure that my sister's housework was done, go behind my brother, make sure his housework was done, and then I'd stay up and do mine.
You practically raised your brother and sister.
Huh?
You practically raised your siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to protect them as best as I could.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Yeah.
And she'd come home at 2:00 in the morning and jerk me out of bed and pour chocolate syrup on the dishes after I already did them and be like, nope, do them again. And so, it was hard to sleep in that kind of environment. And so I learned pretty quick that I could take a couple nips out of the bottle and get a little sleepy and, get some rest in before the next day and it started up again.
That's what I was doing. That's what I did when I was 12, April, was I would take, you call them nips, I would call them sips or whatever, swigs. Luckily for me, my parents were amazing, and, they were together until the day my dad died. And, I started drinking out of pure curiosity. I see the adults, my parents weren't alcoholics whatsoever, but they knew how to throw a party. So they would throw a party, and there'd be a ton of liquor. And then afterwards, it would all just get stored in the basement filled with dust, And then I'm watching The Outsiders a lot in 5th grade. And my best friend would sleep over. We watch The Outsiders. And we're like, I'm going to drink like that. And that was fun. And, 11 years old. And we drink Captain and Coke. That was our first drink. And every other Saturday, roughly, maybe a couple Saturdays a month, he would come over, sleep over, and we'd watch The Outsiders and drink. Not excessively, but, big glass. And then when I was 12, I had some trauma I dealt with. And on top of that, I lost a good friend, not a good friend, but a friend, he got hit by a car, and he was the first person I knew that died. And I said to that, and I have a very good recollection, 6th grade, I said to that same friend, hey, if we drink, we're going to feel better. And that's me talking like an alcoholic at 12 years old.
Yeah. And
because of the trauma and that, I wasn't going to therapy. I didn't know how to talk to anybody about help. Mid-90s. And the only thing I knew was to drink and I'll feel better.
Yeah.
So I would take a bottle. My bedroom was the attic of the house. One of those very thin, tall houses. And my bedroom was the attic. And it was a converted attic into a bedroom. And off to the one was like a walk-in closet they made. And there was a window. And I would towel off the bottom. I would smoke cigarettes in there. I would take swigs from the bottle, store everything in the closet, and go to bed. That's how I slept for a long time. That's how I slept, was from drinking or drugs. I got clean and sober. I had to figure out how am I going to do this raw. How am I going to figure this out now? did anybody in your family, like your mom or your mom, I'm sorry, I said that. Did your stepmom or your biological dad ever realize that there was nibs missing, alcohol missing when you were doing that?
No.
Were they big drinkers?
They were big forgetters. Like, they would forget what they had up there and what they didn't have up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't drink every single day.
Okay.
I didn't drink like every single week. It was when I couldn't sleep and I needed to go to sleep. And I just struggled, a month here and there. And, and then the neighbors, they'd have their parent stuff and, go over there and drink a little bit. But most of the time it was just to go to sleep until I hit 13, 14.
Yeah. 12 years old. I drank alone. I was 12, almost daily though. To sleep. That's like you said, I needed to sleep. And I always had trouble sleeping, since I was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm diagnosed severe insomnia now, 39.
Wow.
But like, I didn't know what was going on. I just watched TV and eventually I fall asleep. So when I was 12, I was like, holy shit, I can actually get some sleep. Wake up with a little headache, but eat something, I'll feel better. And eventually the headache stopped in the morning because I was so used to it. And it was always liquor too. I wasn't drinking beer when I was 12 years old. I was drinking shots of liquor. I didn't even like beer until I was a sophomore in high school. I just drank liquor all the way until then. And it's crazy to think because my stepson's 11 and he's so far removed because my wife is also recovery and they're 5.5 years sober from alcohol, being an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic. Both worlds. And but we have no signage for liquor. He's never even seen us drunk. He's never seen us buy anything. And like, so I can't, it's so weird to see just like this, I don't say he's a dork. He loves video games, and SpongeBob, it's awesome. But like at that age, I was drinking on Saturday nights, and it's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very happy about that. I feel very good about that. I feel like I won. Like, but yeah, it's so fun. Yeah. Either way. So, how were your grades getting through all of that with like a stepmom like that? What was your school like?
If I didn't have straight A's, I got B. So it was beat into me to get straight A's. Get straight A's or you're useless. Basically, I don't know if you've heard the song Perfect by Alanis Morissette, but like, I love Alanis Morissette and I love that song. And actually here in the last like week or two, and I heard it and it just sent chills down my spine. I'm like, oh my God, that's describing my stepmother to a T. Like, we'll live through you, we'll love you if you're perfect, and that's pretty much, you get straight A's, maybe we'll show you a little bit of love, but most of the time it was, if you don't get straight A's, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
So
that was for like all high school and grade school and middle school.
I left that. I was only in the abuse for 6 years. At 13, I met this guy and he introduced me to pot. And then 14, my mom came and got me. I called my stepdad at work and said, have her call me at school. We had a payphone at school. And then it snowed. And so she couldn't call me. So then the next Monday when we had school, she called on the payphone at the time. And you got to come and get me. And so she was in the driveway when the bus dropped me off. Or she pulled in the driveway after the bus dropped me off. My brother was there too, but my brother hid and he was so scared because he heard all of the stories that my stepmom had told about my mom. And I was just like, she's here to rescue me. She's an angel right now, you know. And I gathered up everything I could and went in the car and went with her. And we went to the sheriff's department, told them what was happening. I said I wanted to live with her. I told them about all of the abuse. I wrote everything down, and not a damn thing got done. Nothing got done.
Called that from a mile away. Yep, nothing.
They blamed everything on me. They said I was mental and I made it all up. And yeah. So
I can't believe that victim blaming still happens in 2025. But like, it was the norm, unfortunately, in the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Like, no, what did you do to bring that on, April? Because you had to have done something for him to do that. You know, like,
oh yeah, I was showing a little bit too much leg trying to get my biological father to have sex with me. Yeah,
I got to hear. Now, were you now before?
Sorry.
No, exactly. Now, before you left, did you ever go to school with like bruises or welts or anything? Like, and teachers.
The story was I fell down the steps
every time.
On my ass. Yeah. And I actually, the only time they ever took me to the doctor is because the school contacted them, and I had a horrible case of impetigo, and that's impetigo. It's contagious. It's kind of like chicken pox, but it oozes this nasty stuff, but it's contagious like chicken pox, but just not everybody gets it, but you know. So because it's contagious, they're like, she can't participate in gym until she gets treated. And that's the only time they took me to the doctor. But yeah, so at 14, my mom came and got me. So
what was the inciting incident that led to you being like, fuck this, I'm calling mom?
So at 13, I had sex, like right about my birthday, right before my birthday, actually.
The guy that you were smoking weed with?
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask how much older he was?
So he was my first.
How old
and
was he?
He was 2 years older than me.
Okay, good.
And I got pregnant on the first. My mom says I made this story up, but whatever. I got pregnant on the first time. I told her I was, I tried to hide it. She found out that I was pregnant. She said, I'm giving your baby to my sister. If you lose the baby, I'm going to kill you. And let's see, it was November. In January, I started bleeding. Could not go to the doctor. Could not tell anyone.
Your stepmom said that to you?
My stepmom told me she would kill me if I lost the baby. And if I had the baby, that she would give it to her sister. She would give it to her sister to raise. Yeah. And so 2 months later, I had a miscarriage.
You're couldn't tell it. You're not prenatal. You're not going to the doctors to be checked.
No. What'd she say? Yeah. So got pregnant at 13, right before my 14th birthday. 14, 2 months pregnant, start bleeding, miscarry. Can't tell nobody because she's going to kill me if.
Oh yeah, you're going to kill. Yeah.
And I believed her. That's how much I believed her. And
why would she lie? Why would she lie at this point?
Yeah. And so I believed her, and that's why I called my mom, because, even though I wanted to protect my siblings, and I could not protect them if I'm dead.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
So that's why I had her come and get me. And to this day, I've not been able to have children. I have scar tissue built up in my tubes, and I was never able to conceive. And I mean, once I got sober, I could have went to the doctor and had all of that cleared out and stuff. Yeah. But like by then, I got sober at 38. It's like, do I really have the money to do all of that? And I'd rather buy a car than,
do you want to thrive in your 40s,
Yeah. Yeah. So I was never able to conceive, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason why. But it is what it is, and I've had a really good life, and God has put children in my life that, although they didn't come from me, they're my bonus kids, and so
I don't have any biological children myself. My son, stepson, whatever you want to call him. He was 5 when I came into his life. My wife was married before we met, and my wife has a 22 and a 20-year-old from their first marriage.
Oh wow!
They both at 22 and 20 both still call my wife mom. So they're always here, and so they're like my step children, whatever you want to call them. Step in one removed, they call me JD and I call them by their names. And it's we've had some trials and tribulations through my addiction because I relapsed we recorded last November. Every episode just recently came out because it was supposed to come out last winter, and I relapsed on Xanax, and for 9 days. It doesn't sound long, but it's very long when it ends with an overdose and a psych ward stay. So, and then I spent like 8 months only concentrating on NA, going twice a day and just being very active. And now I go once a day, basically. My home group's at like 9 o'clock at night on Zoom, 7 days a week. I co-host on Fridays and I host on Thursday and I host on Saturday. And, I love it, and nights I'm just there and participating like anybody else. And it's fun, it's a good group out of California. And I met a lot of cool people out there so far. And around July, my wife and I are in couples therapy. And because of my gambling, because I'm also an compulsive gambler. But I haven't made a bet in like
double
12
winner.
Yeah. So, in July, I had a dream, like, I missed doing this. And I said and I had therapy that day with my wife and our therapist. And I said, I'm going to bring it up then. And we sat down, like, so what's going on? I'm like, I want to bring back my podcast. I'm ready. Am I ready? Can I go do it again? And he was like, yeah, you're ready. You can do it again. And I was like, yeah. So I've been slowly releasing them. So it's been nice, and then I brought back this show, and, this show comes out every Monday and the other show every Wednesday. And, it's a great way for me to just meet people and get connected with, and, hear stories, make people feel less alone, because everyone has, sometimes somebody could watch this right now and be like, oh my God, your stepmom did that to you too? And they can feel less alone in life and in the world, that it wasn't just them. It wasn't isolated. People are fucked up everywhere. I'm not trying to take away anybody else's trauma, but a lot of us have dealt with different forms of trauma throughout our lives. How is living with
even people who seem normal, like my husband's friend, he has this girlfriend, and like they just recently got together a couple of months ago, and we were riding in the car together because we go to motorcycle rallies and stuff. And so we were riding in the car together, and we were just talking. Like, I just jumped into some of my stuff and just, I shared it, and she's like, oh my gosh, you went through that? I went through this. And he's like, I don't normally talk about this kind of stuff. Like, I don't tell just anybody this stuff, and I'm like, that's just, you got to get it out.
Yeah.
You got to get it out, because when you show it the light of day, it makes you stronger, and it makes that secret weaker. Yeah. It takes away its power, like you were saying. So,
and that's why I love doing this, because, sometimes people forget what happened, or, you feel embarrassed, you feel shame, guilt, everyone, there's a lot of feelings that come with trauma. And I'm talking about myself, I'm talking about experience. A lot of nightmares that, I'll wake up from, things that I wake up, I'm like, did that fucking happen? Or that was different. Did that happen too? And then, starting piecing back in 14 years old, I'm like, fuck, how am I alive? How did I not kill myself? And, but, so your mom left when you were 8. Now you're 14. She's got a new
Mm-hmm.
husband, but you were obviously
Mm-hmm.
already close with him enough to call him to say, "Hey, have mom call me."
Mm-hmm.
So how was it living with your mom and stepdad? Did you call him
Yeah.
dad?
I called him daddy.
Now, oh, daddy. Okay, mommy and daddy.
Yeah, mommy and
Okay.
daddy. I know it
No, it's
seems
okay. No,
childish, but when you
you
when
revert though. You're starting over.
yeah,
Yeah.
that, and after having to call them mom and dad, what else am I going to call them? Like,
Yeah.
I can't call them
Call him
mom and
Joe.
dad.
Yeah.
It's just I'm already traumatized in that
Yeah.
way, and I have nothing else to call her, and we've just always called her mommy, always. And so I just felt comfortable. And sometimes people may think, I don't give a shit what people think. If you knew my trauma, you would understand.
Yeah.
So, but I call her mommy. I still to this day call him daddy, even though they're divorced. I do get to see him every once in a while, but I had gone to therapy in my 40s.
That's how long it
Like,
took you?
huh?
That's how long it took you to get into therapy?
Yeah.
April. What the fuck?
I didn't get sober till 38.
I get it. Okay.
But yeah, so in my 40s I went to therapy, and she had asked me about my stepdad, and she's like, "So, was he good to you?" And I'm like, "Well, he didn't abuse me. I mean, I think he was a great guy." My mom could say something different, because there was some abuse between him and her. But like, she's like, "So your judgment of if a person loves you is if they don't abuse you."
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Like, I had to take a look at that and unpack that and be like, he did do things to my mom that, had the cops called and stuff like that. They had a tumultuous relationship, but he was always good to me, because he didn't abuse me or anything, but he was nice to me.
Yeah. Did you have any other
Um,
siblings there? I forget.
Now, once I moved in with my mom at 14, she had a new baby
With him.
with him, and a toddler
Okay.
with his cousin.
Wait.
Yeah.
Did you skip something here? Did she
So
have the father with the cousin and met the stepdad?
she cheated,
And he didn't leave her.
and they left and got back together. So, yeah. So my brothers are not only brothers to each other, half brothers to each other, but they're also cousins.
His cousins. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Fucking
It
Ohio.
is.
Fucking Ohio, I tell you. You
So,
all right,
but
so
yeah.
you're a teenager who has already been drinking for years,
Mm-hmm.
to fall asleep. By now you're partying with it. Now you're using it to party.
Yeah, I'm going to that boyfriend's house and drinking and smoking pot and
that was
all
one
of
of the
that.
questions. How far away did your mommy live from your biological father when you made that move? What was that transition like?
Literally 20 miles.
That's not bad.
No, like, it was out in the
Small enough.
country with my biological father and stepmother, and it was like in town, in a small town, I mean, it's the county seat, but it's Highland County. It's Hicktown, So
Everybody in town work at the factory?
no, but it was small enough that I walked to school.
Yeah, that's how I was. So I was in a 1 square mile town, but 8,000 people on top of each other.
Yeah, I think I walked like a mile to school and a mile back, but it was a very short walk. I walked further going to work on the bus when I was in the middle of my addiction. So
yeah, I was. I was in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I was in the suburbs of Philly. I was in Jersey side of Philly. So like, the bridge that went into South Philadelphia was right at the end of my street. Like, you could see the entrance to the bridge. So like, that's how close to the Philadelphia growing up.
So you were more of a city kid.
No, I was still a townie. I was still like
Oh,
one small
really?
town. Really, our town was a cut through town. And when I
Mm,
say that, I mean like this is Jersey where there's a lot of highways.
mm,
And right outside of Philly where there's more highways and the bridges, and there's two different bridges. And the Walt Whitman and Ben Franklin. And there was like four highways, and people would cut through our town to go from 295 to 42 to go to the other highways. So we
okay.
were like cut through town with two main roads that were really big roads that you weren't allowed to go across those roads when you were a kid. And then
Mm,
it was like this side of the tracks, and then there's that side of the tracks. So, that Fourth Ave, that's from where I grew up. I was on Fourth Avenue. That's from the pole, right down the street from where I grew up. I didn't steal it. My friend works for the town, and he gave it to me when they replaced them. He told me he was doing it. I said, "Yeah, I want that." I've always had it in my office since. So, I was always walking around town drinking,
mm.
smoking, smoking cigarettes. Were you smoking cigarettes too?
Yeah, but my mom let me.
Yeah.
Like, I would smoke cigarettes for my nerves.
Mm.
So, like, I would smoke
Don't we
maybe
all?
2 cigarettes a day. Like, a pack would last me like a month.
Yeah.
I didn't do 2 every single day, but here and there, she'd
Well, I
give
have
me
a
a pack
question.
every now and then.
Just
So,
popped in my head. I bounce around.
mm,
Um, did you ever have to see your stepmom again?
yes.
Okay.
So, I don't remember how old I was. I was with my sisters, and I'm pretty sure my youngest sister was 18. So Sean, the middle sister, my brother stayed there until he was 18.
Mm,
Okay, and then my next sister, 16, CPS got involved, and
good.
she decided to live with my mom, and my other sister lived in there until she turned 18.
Okay.
And then everybody moved in with mommy, except for my brother that was 2 years younger than me. He did his own thing. He never like got out of it and faced
Yeah.
the abuse and everything, but like me and my 2 sisters kind of did.
Yeah.
um, and so I drank and smoked and did acid and you
That's his
know
hell of a drug.
yeah,
Yeah, I
all
didn't
of
do
that
acid when I
kind
was
of
in my
stuff.
20s. I can't even
uh,
imagine doing acid as a teenager though, because acid took me to places I could ever imagine. I can't
yeah.
imagine being like 14 years old and tripping balls because it took me to crazy places in my 20s. I can't imagine where it would take me as a teenager. Like
Oh
that's
yeah,
just
I have stories. I ate tomato soup and forgot I ate it and thought I was throwing up blood. And then they're like, April, you just ate tomato soup. And I'm like, oh, okay.
oh, okay,
And then
good.
I saw ants crawling all over my
Mhm.
boyfriend at the time. And, I have those kinds of stories. And I look back at those like,
It's fine now.
it's funny now. That was fun times. We didn't get in trouble and we had fun. Some of those days, some of those times, the drugs were fun. We wouldn't keep doing them if they weren't fun at times,
But
and
you said you were 16 and you were raped.
yes.
Were you at a party?
No.
You want to tell me what happened?
What happened is me,
Well, please tell
me
me. You know,
so in my town,
mhm.
there we have cruising. I don't know if you know what cruising is. Everybody gets in their fancy cars that they have at 16 and 17 and
Okay.
18 and
Mhm.
go around the block. And then other cars go around the block the other way. And hi, how you doing? Some of us stand up on the corner, stand there and watch the people go by. That was what we did in this little hometown.
That was when
And
gas was 90 cents a gallon, though.
yeah,
The fuel you
yeah.
just on the block over and over.
So like I did that from the time I was like 14, as soon
Mhm.
as I discovered town life,
Mhm.
until like in my mid 20s when they put a stop to it.
Mhm.
We would get cups and buy bourbon and Mountain Dew and mix it together in a Mountain Dew bottle, the returnable Mountain Dew bottles, because they were green.
Yeah. Gatorade
And
was my go-to with that age. That age, it was Gatorade bottles. I'd buy like a 24 ounce Gatorade, pour out like, a third of it, pour a bunch of vodka inside, shake it up, good to go.
So I was uptown I was actually 15. So uptown with my friend, and I thought she knew these guys. She thought I knew these guys. And they're like, hey, do you need some booze? And she's like, yeah, I want some screwdriver. And I'm like, I don't know what screwdriver is. She's like, you'll like it. And, so from the get-go, I'm drinking alcoholically once I get to my mom's because it's an outlet. Yeah. It numbs the pain. It numbs the feelings. It makes me feel good.
It's a learned behavior. Yeah.
So she takes a couple of sips out of this screwdriver that they buy us, and I'm drinking most of the bottle. And so here I am, loopy, and they put her in another vehicle, and I'm in the vehicle with this guy, and he takes me out to this quarry, and he raped me. And I'm in and out of consciousness, saying no, saying no, saying no. And, I thank God that he didn't do the things that he could have done even further, because we were at a quarry. Yeah. He could have threw me into the quarry and killed me. Yeah. And he didn't do that. He put me back in his vehicle, took me back, and dropped me off at my friend's house.
Did your friend get raped too?
She did not.
Huh.
So, I don't know.
Okay.
But, so I ended up staying the night at her house. I stayed out all night. And my mom, of course, we didn't have cell phones or anything back then, and so I didn't call her on the regular phone or anything. I didn't do anything. I came in and passed out. And the next morning I got up and I went home, and she's livid. And I'm just like, I'm so done. I don't even want to talk. I'm crying. Like, okay, yeah, I'm grounded.
Was this a weekend?
Yeah, it was a weekend. It was like a Friday night. Okay. It was a Friday or a Saturday night. It had to have been, because that's when cruising happened. And I don't remember which night it was, but like I could come in there to my mom's house apartment drunk and be fine. Just walk in just fine and waltz upstairs and go to bed. I walk in sober one time, and she accused me up and down of being all up. And I'm like, the one time I walk in here sober and you're getting on me. But when I walk in here drunk, like, whatever. But
there's a Family Guy episode. I love cartoons. So I'm 39. I love cartoons.
Yeah.
I fall asleep to them every night. Bob's Burgers a Family Guy. I fall asleep to him every night. And Peter gets his license done, and he goes there drunk. This way, if he gets pulled over, he's going to match his picture in his driver's license.
So I have Hulu, and if you have Hulu and you're watching Family Guy, if you've already been through all of the seasons and all the episodes,
start in the middle sometimes.
Huh?
It's starting in the middle.
It'll start at the end, like the last 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So I found out a way to fix that. Make another profile and start it on there. So make you a Family Guy profile.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I made everybody else, ERRY body else. And I started on there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now it's not going to start at the end. So now all I got to do is make a new profile every time that I get to the end of Family Guy, and I can watch it on there. I had to share it with my bonus daughter's baby daddy, because he had the same problem.
And I'm laying in bed, and I always know when it does it, not just because I've seen it a million times, and I don't have to even look, and I know what's happening on the screen, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I know which buttons on the remote control start from the beginning without having to even look at anything. Because I've done it so many times. But if the music doesn't play right away, I'm like, fuck, it's at the end. And I have to
Yep.
grab the remote, you know.
Now you know how to fix that.
You're a genius. I'm gonna do it with Bob's, and I'm gonna do it with Family Guy. I watch, you know, even
Yeah.
my 11-year-old, as he falls asleep watching Bob's every night because he knew from a young age. We let him watch Bob's at a young age, and we let him watch 5 episodes of Family Guy, and we told him he can watch more when he's like 12 or 13. So, you know, we let him curse. You know, we gave him rules, certain words he can't say, and you know, you can curse with us but not at us. You know, those, you know, my dad gave me that rule when I was 10, and until the day he died, I never once cursed at him. You know, curse together. You know, it's just. But either way, all right. So you come in drunk, and you know the next morning after you get raped, what happened with your mom?
And she yelled at me and told me I was grounded and all of that. And I went to my room and I cried and just went on.
You didn't tell her what happened. You didn't want to tell her what happened.
Okay. No, because you don't. You know, you don't tell that kind of stuff. Like,
was there shame involved?
I didn't. Huh?
Was there guilt involved? Like, you know, you were drinking and
like, you know, when I told about what my stepmom did to me, the cops didn't believe me. When I told her what her brothers had done, my stepmom was just like, "Oh no, you're lying," you know. Yeah. And when I told people that, you know, my grandfather, when we were playing like hide and go seek, us kids were playing, you know, and I had the blindfold on because we were playing in the house. So. And he touched me inappropriately, you know, and I told about that and nobody believed me. So why am I going to tell that somebody raped me when I put myself in that position and I felt like it was my fault because I drank the alcohol. And so he expected that out of me. And so it is what it is. So I learned to use that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm a victim. I paint myself as a victim. I treat myself up here as a victim. I'm going to use that to my advantage. So like 2 weeks later, when I get caught smoking pot at school, what's the first thing that I say? Oh, but I was raped. You don't understand. I was raped. And she thought I was talking about my step uncles. And I said, no. When I came home that night, that's what happened. And so she put me in therapy. And of course, I didn't tell the therapist anything that I should have. I faked my whole way through it because I was like, no, I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to relive all of that. I'm already reliving it in my head. I'm not going to tell us. Once it comes out of your mouth and you tell somebody, it makes it real. Just like when you're in AA or NA and you're writing this stuff down. When you write that stuff down, it makes it real. You know, before it's just it's a thought or it's a memory or, you know, a feeling. No, when you write it down, it makes it real. So when I go into a therapist's office and I tell them what is going on with me, it makes it real. And so, hell no, I'm not going to do that at 16. I'm not going to tell them what happened to me. So I just go on with my life doing what I'm doing. I took my week off of school and went to my aunt's house and I smoked pot all week. And because I was a straight A student, they allowed me to make up all of my homework for that week while I was out for that week. They sent it home with me. So
you were out for a week to see a therapist?
No, I was out for a week suspended because I was smoking pot on school property.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And
I mean, I got basically no consequences because my week out of school, I didn't want to go to school anyway. I hated school, but yet, I get to go to my aunt's house and I get to smoke pot all week and I get to do my homework. Done. Like that was the best week that I'd had in forever. You know.
And I interviewed a girl yesterday. She had to go to rehab when she was 16 because she got caught burying a pack of cigarettes in high school underneath the flowers, underneath the bush. She saw a teacher coming and she got nervous and she started burying her cigarettes underneath the bush and they sent her to rehab for 30 days. Yeah. Chicago. I don't know.
That's insane.
She's younger than both of us. No, she's 40. He's 40.
Like,
He's like,
so when I was like 17, my boyfriend, I was still with that same boyfriend off and on.
oh, from
And
13? From 13?
yeah, I was still with that same boyfriend off and on. I was with him until after 18, and then shit went downhill real bad.
We'll get there.
And then I got back with him in my 20s for about 3 months, and then, let that go. But anyway,
17.
so he was in jail for possession of marijuana.
Oh my God. Go ahead.
I go up into the jail to bring him. He tells me to put pot in between the pages of a magazine and glue it together. And apparently the cops already knew what was going on, because as soon as I get there, I'm pulled into the back room. They search it. They find it. I'm like, I'm busted. And they're like, well, we're not going to charge you, but you're not allowed to come up here and see him anymore.
Interesting.
So no consequences.
They didn't want to do the paperwork.
No, they didn't want to do the paperwork. It's a small town. Like, they're like, the best thing we can do for this girl is just not allow her to come up and see him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how much longer did he have in there before he got out?
He was only in there he was in and out every couple months. He was in and out for stupid stuff. Like, I can't believe he's still alive today. Mm-hmm. Like, he's still in and out of jail, in and out of prison, you know. So
you like that though about him?
He was my saving grace. I think him showing me attention.
You felt safe?
Yeah. Yeah. Even though, like, he didn't abuse me, but like, he was not very nice to me some of the times, but he didn't hit me, and he said some off the wall stupid stuff, but he was a pothead. He did some stupid stuff to his friends. He tattooed a middle finger and F the police on dude's butt. Like, that's the kind of guy he was. He was selling pot. He was living in his dad's house and not like contributing at all. I moved in there at 18 with him at his dad's house, and I got a job, and he helped me get a car. He helped me get a license. His dad did. And like, I'm paying him rent, and I'm paying him payments on this car, and he's actually helping me more than my own mother, biological mother. Yeah. He's helping me more than her. She would not pay for me to it was $50 to go to driver's ed to get your license at 16. No, she wouldn't do it. I had to wait till I was 18 because she wouldn't do that. And she wouldn't pay for my, went to, what is it called? Vocational school. Okay. And so I'm not a hairdresser today because she would not pay for the $350. Now to go to hairdresser school now, $20,000. Like, it was only going to cost her $350. I blamed her for that forever. Yeah. She probably saved my life. I'd be living in a trailer park, probably shooting up by the time I was 21 anyway. But anyway, now, so yeah.
Did you ever find yourself getting arrested and getting into trouble?
I didn't get arrested and get
into
until late in my addiction.
Okay.
So
because you keep coming across no consequences.
Yep.
Thing, yeah. Now, what did your 20s look like? Because we're up to your 20s now. What did your 20s look like? Because you were on. That's about the time you stopped seeing that guy that you've been with for on off 7 years. How did that end? What was the ending to that saga?
So he took in his cousin's girlfriend, who was a runaway teenager. I'm 18. I'm driving around with her in my car, cops coming oh, I'm scared because she's a runaway. I could get in trouble for that. Mm-hmm. And so apparently they had been sleeping together behind my back when I would go to work. and that seems to be like a pattern I would get with men that would cheat on me and lie to me and, all of that stuff.
Was she much younger?
I was 18. She was 16.
Oh, good. Okay.
So he was sleeping with her.
Not good. But
He was hiding her from the cops. Yeah,
no. Her be a 13-year-old run away.
No, she was 16 and he was 20.
Yeah, okay. All right. That makes me feel better. Not that you were cheated on repeatedly.
And so I'm doing laundry and I find a note from her in the back pocket that she had planted. She planted it for me to find. And it's a love letter saying, oh, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, blah, blah, blah. And yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. I can go, and so I went and moved in with my grandparents and left him. And I made a stupid mistake in my mid 20s. I did get back with him for like 3 months. All right, God, should I tell that story or not? So in my 20s, he had this girlfriend and she had a baby. And apparently I got with him, so he kicked her out because he got with me.
Oh my God.
And then over the next 3 months, I found out he would, no, she wasn't pregnant. She had a baby. She already had a baby, on her hip. But he threw her out the house with the baby on the hip with no place to go. And so for 3 months, I'm like, and I'm at work one night getting ready to get off work to go pick him up from work because he didn't have a car.
I could have called that. I could have bet money on that and won.
And she calls me at work and she says, by the way, this is so-and-so, and he's been sleeping with me too. So you might want to get checked because he may be sleeping with other people too. I don't know. And so me and her get together, and we hang out for 3 days. And then I finally go confront him. Well, so me and her got back at him that was my first bisexual encounter.
Okay.
So I went to go confront him and I'm like, F you, I slept with your girlfriend. And then he's pushing her and getting abusive with her. And I'm like, oh no, we ain't doing this. And so, made sure that didn't get, and I didn't have anything to do with him anymore after that. But yeah, it's a nice little story.
Yeah, no, I like that. Thank you for telling me that one. That's so funny. Your girlfriend too. That's awesome.
Cheated on you. And you didn't get to participate.
The mid-90s are wild. Mid-90s were wild.
Yeah. So yeah, the first time I left him, I was, 18, 19. At 21, I had a car accident. I started working at 18. I moved 18th birthday. I moved out of my mom's house. I moved in with him at his dad's house. His dad helped me get a car and stuff like that. I was actually one of the valedictorians of my high school class. I got up there and I couldn't read my speech and it was all, thank you, thank you, whatever. I'm great. I was out of it. I think I was high, but whatever. No, probably pot.
Yeah.
But I was one of the valedictorians of my class. I got a scholarship to a local community college. So I started that. I started working, trying to do that. I got through a semester of college, got a speeding ticket on the way to college. And I was like, damn it, if I can't get to school on time, I don't need to go to school. So I quit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was working full time, going to school full time. It was a lot. And so I think I'd rather work and make money. And so I worked and made money. And, so I had a job, got a better job, and started working my way up through hospital ranks, starting at patient registration, switchboard, and on up through billing. And that is now I'm in the back office part of healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I made it a career.
Yeah.
So at 21, I'm sorry.
I work for a hospital system where I live from home. I schedule from home. I'm a scheduler for orthopedics, podiatry, orthotics, and wound care.
I'm a system analyst for home health and hospice care, palliative care, and infusion. So,
you work from home or in office?
Yes, I work from home. I actually, Ohio is where my job is. And after I met my now husband, I was like, hey, can I move to Tennessee? And this was after COVID hit and we all went remote. And so I was like, can I move? And they're like, yes, you can. So then 6 months after I met him and we were going back and forth doing long distance thing, I moved to Tennessee. So I still have to, I have to go to Ohio to go into the office every now and then.
I hate to say, because of COVID, people would have those opportunities with their jobs today. You know, because they would, they did not trust employees to go home with their work and actually do the work. But because of COVID, they realized, oh shit, they are going to do their work at home.
Well, we were already set up to where we were only going into the office. We were going in 3 days a week. We were allowed to work remotely 2 days a week.
Oh, okay.
And so after that, they were like, you're already halfway working remote. We're not going into the office because of COVID. So, yeah. So, but back age 21, I'm driving and I get hit from behind. I'm stopped and the guy's going full 30 something miles an hour and hits me in the rear end. And I get pinched nerve in my neck, whiplash, migraines, neck pain, back pain, the whole gambit. I mean, I don't have an injury to where you could look at my MRI or whatever and be like, oh yeah, you're effed up, but I have severe pain. I also have fibromyalgia and I have what's called EBV. It's what causes mono and it stays in your system. And yeah, so I get that chronic mono every now and then. So I have autoimmune disorders.
Yeah, my wife has MS. So, and with the MS, my wife has MS.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they said it could be because they had mono when they were a kid. Yeah.
So I don't remember ever having mono, but yeah, it sucks as an adult. I'm not contagious.
You had to go to the doctors to be diagnosed for mono when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You weren't going to the doctors.
No.
How would you know?
So at 21, I get put on painkillers. I am on Vicodin, and within like a couple of years, I'm upped from 5s to 7.5s. A couple more years, I'm doing 10s, multiple times a day. And they added the blue footballs, Xanax, to it because of anxiety disorder, severe anxiety disorder and severe depressive disorder. And, because I have attempted suicide multiple times over the years. And so I got put on these meds. So by the time through my 20s, like I met my first husband in a bar, pretty much in and out of a blackout, and met him.
You don't know shit. You ever see Men in Black? That little thing? That's what Xanax and alcohol is. That little memory eraser.
Yeah. So I met him, and the next week, I'm like, my mom's driving home, and I'm like, what was his name? I couldn't remember his name, and then I couldn't remember what he looked like. So I met him. I knew I was meeting him the next week, and I walked back into the same bar. And I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, I hope it's not him. Oh, please, God, no. And he comes up and says, hi, April, and I'm like, oh, thank you, God. Gorgeous man with this, with this long hair, and it just love at first sight, and he introduced, he introduced me to a lot harder drugs. So throughout that marriage, we got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And
A toxic relationship.
yes, I mean when I met him, he was living in his car, and I didn't know it. So of course I moved him right in with me and my mom.
Your mom.
Because I was living with my mom by that time.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of us were living with our mom because she wasn't taking care of herself, and she wasn't getting. My mother has mental health issues, so like me, and by that time, my 16-year-old sister was there and was 20.
This was post her divorce with your stepdad.
Yeah, before it was after the divorce with my stepdad. Yes.
And that was a relationship too, right? They had an abusive relationship, like, verbally and all that.
So my sister said that it was different with them. They didn't have the severe abuse that I did. Like my sister did say that, like, she took her on drug runs, had her in the car, like holding the drugs and stuff.
Okay.
And my other sister, she actually ran away because of the abuse.
Okay.
So we never sat down and actually.
And don't talk about it. Yeah.
No, you don't talk about it. We never sat down and actually had discussions about, like.
Your mom's still alive, April?
My mom is still alive.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in her 70s. And my grandmother, her mother, is still alive. She's in her 90s.
Wow.
So, but my stepmother did die. Like you had asked me about if I ever saw her again.
Yeah, that's
and somewhere in my 20s, right about where we're at, with my sisters living there, and we were all working and taking care of my brothers, getting their school stuff, making food, buying food, paying bills and stuff. And
again, you're raising your siblings again. Yeah.
Yes. And my brain just went blank.
You were talking about your stepmom dying.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So my grandmother passed away from not ovarian cancer, uterine cancer.
Okay.
She had been in a nursing home, so it's my biological father's mother. And my sisters wanted to go to the funeral, and I went with them, and I kept my distance. But my stepmother was there, and my biological father was there, and my biological father came up and gave me a hug. And I went into a PTSD episode and just went catatonic.
You walk out?
My sister had to put me in the car and get me away, and like I didn't go into the shaking and crying. I just catatonic.
You froze. You completely.
Yeah, I froze.
Frozen
like
time.
That's my nightmares. Is that I'm frozen. I can't do anything, or I'm trying to run and I'm slow, like in slow motion, and so. But yeah, so that happened during that time period. But my stepmother did die. Like I still had all of that. I had nightmares of running and running slow, and she's after me, and she's, trying to do stuff to me and trying to pull me back in. And after she died, all of that gone. I have not had one more nightmare about that woman at all. I celebrated when she died. So, yeah.
Fuck her.
Yeah, fuck her.
How old were you when that happened? How did she die? Tell me slow and painful. Tell me slow and painful, April. Tell me slow and painful.
No, actually, it was very quick. My biological father posted on Facebook and said something about she went into the hospital and had a pulmonary embolism or a heart attack or something. Like, she went in because she was sick, but she always had breathing problems. Okay. So, like, she went in because she was sick, and then she just never made it out.
Yeah.
So he posted this heartbreaking post on Facebook, and I'm just like,
in your mid-30s then, before you got sober.
Huh?
You were in your mid-30s, still in active addiction when this happened.
No, I was sober.
Oh, you were sober celebrating.
This just like this was in the past, like 10 years ago. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was sober when it happened. There was another person that had
Talk to
been
your sponsor
involved
about it?
in.
Did you talk to your sponsor about the celebration?
She agreed with me. She said it's
Okay, yeah, I
fine.
would have you too. I'm just curious.
It's not like I went and danced on her grave or
Yeah.
unplugged her, or I didn't cause her harm. I just celebrated that woman who had abused me so much was no longer on this earth
Yeah.
and no longer could cause my nightmares.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
anybody else harm?
Yeah, and anybody else harm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean,
You know.
she was mentally ill too.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
but a lot of people use that as an excuse
Yeah, it's a
today.
top.
Like,
Yeah.
and people may say, "Oh, well, you're wrong. You shouldn't be like that." But so many people use mental health as an excuse today. Me, the only mental health diagnosis I have now in sobriety is PTSD.
Yeah.
I am no longer severe depressive disorder. I am no longer like CPTSD is my only diagnosis. And
Yeah.
even that, it's basically put as in remission
Oh.
because, because I don't have PTSD episodes I haven't had one in a while. I haven't had one in probably 3-4 years.
Okay.
But when I did have them, I had a therapist who did teach me how to self soothe and how to bring myself back. Like she said, you could have a PTSD episode because you walked past a guy that was wearing the same cologne that your rapist had
Yeah.
on. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't even know that that's why you're
Yeah.
reacting that way.
Yeah.
But when I can bring myself back, like my ex had said something and it was something that like my stepmother had said, and so I had to say, I'm here in 20 whatever that happened in the 90s, I'm not there. I'm here with so and so, with so and so, with so and so, and he didn't mean to cause this episode, and talk my way through it. And I haven't really had any issues with the PTSD for quite a while.
Mm, that's awesome. Because it's such a scary thing. You know, it's such a scary thing. People don't. You want to explain the difference to some? I know what it is, but I'd rather somebody that understands it, who lives it. What's the difference between PTSD and CPTSD?
So a person who has PTSD, like I don't want to compare myself to a war veteran.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's hard to say, oh, mine is PTSD when they've been through so much. And a person that's close to me explained this to me, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. So it's complex. It's childhood PTSD. Like it's a complex.
It's ongoing. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it,
ongoing.
yeah, it's a complex thing that you know chronic.
Well, yeah, the way I always explain it to people is PTSD is usually an event that happens that you relive over and over.
Mhm.
Complex PTSD is usually
A
something that
pattern.
happens over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Well,
I have CPTSD.
mhm.
Yeah, I get it. Same as you.
So the
Yeah.
CPTSD, you could also categorize me putting myself through it by replaying that stuff over and over in my head. Like it's still that cycle.
Yeah.
Even though it's not happening anymore, it's still happening.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
14. Last time it happened, 12 to 14. And I always blame myself. I put myself there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back. That's on me. And it's not. I'm making excuses for people
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm giving them the out. And it is what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, I buried that shit so far that I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then I had a nightmare. And I was like, oh, that seems really familiar. And then it all came back, April.
Mm-hmm. Just
years.
like we're talking and things are popping in my head that I haven't thought about for forever.
Well, that's why I did this
Yeah.
show. Remember, I told you,
Yeah.
you know, I wanted to do a show like this to concentrate more on this
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a freeing feeling letting go of this kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, it all came flooding back. That
Mm-hmm.
one nightmare, that one realization, and then all the events, and then all I had was nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all I had was nightmares every single night, and it was, you know, when I dream, I fucking dream. You know, because I barely sleep, but when I sleep, I have vivid dreams.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I can see, hear, smell, feel. You
Mm-hmm.
know, fucking hate it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I have sleep problems, and then it gets so bad where you're afraid to fall asleep, right? Because you're afraid what's going to happen when you do fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I haven't had any like that for a while. Like I have had vivid dreams, but like I've literally had, some people may call me crazy or say you might need to get to a meeting, but like I literally have had a dream where I was in, before I went to bed, I was in so much pain, and in the dream I actually dreamt I was using,
Mm-hmm.
like I was smoking crack and
Yeah.
stuff, like I was using everything to numb myself.
Oh,
And
I've
I
done
woke
that.
up and I'm like, okay, it was just a dream.
Yeah.
And I went back to sleep so I could go back to the dream.
Yeah.
And be pain free in the dream.
I've felt high in the dreams before. Like I actually felt the high in the dreams.
Like I literally went back to sleep to go back and get high in the dream. Like, but like when you're a person that lives with chronic pain, basically all I was trying to do was have a pain-free day. It wasn't like I was wanting to get high. I wanted to numb the pain.
You were getting that freebie, April. You wanted that freebie.
Yeah. And it's not like I woke up and man, I want to go smoke some crack, or you know, man, I want to do a pain pill. It wasn't like that. And I mean, I was like 7-8 years sober, you know, when those started.
So when did crack become your DOC? Because you mentioned crack.
Crack isn't my DOC. I just, crack is my go-to, like in dreams and stuff. Like me, my ex-husband introduced me to crack. So what happened is he introduced me to cocaine, and then you know, because it smelled so good. That's what my now husband says. But I would get allergies, and like as soon as I'd snort a line, my sinuses would fill with fluid, and I actually had to have surgery because of the scar tissue that built up inside my sinuses. And so then I was putting it in capsules and eating it, and I'm like, this ain't doing it for me. And then my husband,
People put meth in capsules.
My husband at the time, well, we would just smoke the meth, like, but my husband at the time, he rocked some up, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do it this way every time we do it, you know. And we didn't do it like every weekend or every day, or it was like, oh, well, we have $600 in the bank, and that's the rent money, but let's just not pay rent, and we'll get some crack.
Yeah, we'll figure it out tomorrow.
And we'll find a new place to live. So, you know, there was that cycle, you know, we'd do that. Or we'd go to the check cashing place and, you know, get more money and then figure it out. And, you know.
I just watched a documentary on Charlie Sheen on Netflix. Did you watch it yet?
No.
Documentary. He was smoking 7 grams of crack a day. To himself. And, you know, he was going overboard really bad. His best friend was his crack dealer. And even his crack dealer knew his crack dealer was in the documentary too. And even he knew that he was out of control. Everybody knew Charlie Sheen was out of control, you know. And the family went to the dealer and said, hey, is there anything you can do that is going to make him stop? He said, I know he needs to, but I don't know what I can do. You know what? I'll just make it less and less potent every time I see him. And then about a year and a half later, he was like, I'm not even getting high anymore. Fuck this. I don't want it anymore. I'm done.
Giving him sheetrock. Drywall.
That's how Charlie Sheen stopped smoking crack, was they were basically practicing harm reduction and tapering him off of crack without him even knowing it over a year and a half time.
I stopped when I saw my husband. Like we packed up and moved to Florida with his girlfriend. That's a whole nother story. I was his wife and she was his girlfriend. And we packed up and moved to Florida because her job was moving her to Florida. And I had lost my job because of pain pills and getting caught.
What year was this?
Let's see, 2009.
Oh, and the pain pill factory in Florida was off the chain down there in 2009.
Yeah. And
every corner.
So we had gotten some crack after about 3 or 4 months down there, and I saw where it was taking him. Like, he actually went to treatment for crack addiction, and he stopped on the way to treatment at the crack dealer and, stole a bunch of shit from me and sold it to the crack dealer or whatever. And, was high, but that's what we do, and at that same time, he was going to the pain clinics and getting Percocets and Xannies and keeping me going and keeping himself going and keeping his dealer going. And, that's where we went. We went from partying and having fun. And then it got real bad.
It's dark. It's dark and it's depressing. Yeah. And bad, and you don't know a way out because my opiates were my thing. Opiates were my DSC from 2008 to 2018. And that was my escape. I drank every day all through, middle school and high school. 21 at the bar, or if not at the bar, at my apartment. Because I got my own place when I was 19. And, I was a party apartment because all my friends still lived at home. And then 21, I went really hard drinking, even harder than I ever went. And then by 22, I was like, this time, I turned 39 tomorrow. And by 22, I was like, I need to find something else. I'm done. This is it. It's annoying. It's expensive. Like, opiates weren't going to be expensive for me. It's expensive. I don't like this anymore. I got to find something else. And I didn't know that I was trying to find something else to escape with. I didn't know that I was trying to escape. I thought I was having fun. And then there was a weed drought. This was in 2008, right before the election. And I don't know about you if you ever noticed, but back in the day, back when you had to buy street weed, before elections, the borders got really sealed up. And there was a drought for weed before elections. And this was before the 2008 Obama election. So I couldn't get weed for shit then. And it was October 2008. And my weed dealer was at my house just to hang out. And before he was going to the bar with my roommate, I was like, dude, DJ, you got any weed? He's like, no, man, all I got is this. And he pulled out a bag of Perk 10s. And I had dabbled here and there. And I was like, okay, give me 2. Hand him a $20 bill. And everyone left. Everyone went to the bar. I popped 2. For some reason that night, I got higher than I ever had been. This is what I want. Fuck alcohol. This is what I want right here. Next day, bought more. Finally, he's like, I'm out. You got to go see Black Lou with Giuseppe's. And my Black Lou is the man. He told us all to call him Black Lou. He eventually passed away from liver cirrhosis at 43. He was at the bar at Extreme Alcoholic, and he was selling to everybody outside the bar. And I was like, hey, man, I was told you got perks. He's like, oh, I got the 30s. They're $20. I was like, no, I want the 10s. He's like, dude, you buy the 30s, you save $10 and get an extra 10 milligrams, and you can store them. I'm like, I'll take them. Yep. And then once I started sorting them, oh my God, it was off. I was done. Right. And I was really hooked. But yeah, it's, I was, going to a pain mill myself, a pill mill. I always like, what's shady? We work in healthcare. We know that you need to get a referral to see a specialist, right? At this doctor, you had to get a referral from another patient. It's the patient say, don't worry, he's cool. He's not a cop. Know? And I'm about to see this doctor.
And you're only supposed to go once a month to one doctor.
28 days. Every 28 days.
Yeah. To one doctor. Yeah. My husband was going every single week to a different doctor.
Yeah, because that's what he could.
Yeah.
This was when I started doing this with this doctor's office, it was 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And by then they had Florida fucked it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Florida ruined the game for everybody.
Yeah.
And
Because in 2000 and 2010 is when I stopped, and that's when you could not find the pills anywhere.
yeah, so I started going to this doctor, is she a doctor? And I'm in my head, I'm like, all right, what's the lie you're gonna tell this guy to get pills? And I had this whole concocted story, and I'm nervous, and I sit down with him, and he's like, hey, I'm doctor, blah, blah, blah. What are you looking for? I was like, what? He said, what are you looking for? He's like, I hurt my back. He goes, what are you looking for? I was like, 120 Roxy 30s and 120 Xanax bars. All right, see 20 days, make your point on the way out.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Just that easy. All you had to do was have he had a messed up back, and he had the MRIs to prove it. So like him going in, I got his medical records sent down there, and bam, he was in like Flynn.
Yeah, I didn't have medical records. I didn't have anything. I had no proof of nothing.
Yeah, they let me go one time. They let me go one time, and because my medical records don't, support. Because I do have a pinched nerve in my neck, but like, they're like, so.
Yeah,
that's not bad enough.
I'm a chatty guy, and whenever I go to a doctor, I always chat up the secretaries. I want them to know who I am. And about 2 years later, every 28 days of going there, I got a phone call. They're like, hey, JD, it's Dr. Blah Blah's office. Let you know, just found out we're getting raided soon. I have your script on my desk. It's not good to fill for another 2 weeks. Not going to charge you. You can get here next 2 hours. It's not going to get taken away in the raid. So I'll be there in 20. Shot down there so fucking fast. Sitting right on her desk and walked in. She goes, have a nice day. Nice knowing you. I'm like, have a good day. Good luck. That was fucked.
Yeah.
My doctor was gone.
Yeah. At the height of all of that in Florida in 2010, my husband went to jail. So my dealer was gone.
Yeah.
I had to go to his dealer, and he had me doing things that, we do to get stuff. And by July, I was just done. I was not even getting high anymore. I was just getting well enough to go to work to make the money to get well, And I figured out the loophole that I could file for Family Medical Leave Act.
I'm on it right now. I'm on it for mental health right now. I might have cancer. I have a biopsy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't know that though.
Yeah.
I was going out for mental health August 25th. And then August 20th, I had some stuff happen. It was really weird. And I went to the doctors, but I got some blood work done. It came back really bad. And I started seeing other doctors and other doctors. So this whole month I've been out for mental health. But meanwhile, I've been seeing these other doctors. And it turns out I might have bladder cancer. And
oh wow.
I have a biopsy done Tuesday is my biopsy. So we'll see what happens,
Prayers for my husband's buddy. He had problems with prostate and stuff, and we were all praying for him, and his came back good. So he didn't have cancer. He just has a messed up prostate levels and stuff. So
yeah, we'll see what mine is. I mean, I pee every hour, almost every hour on the hour. It's crazy, and I have other stuff that happens. So. But yeah, it's wild. I lost like 30 pounds in the last month without even trying, And when she said that, I'm like, don't you gotta be like in your 60s to get bladder cancer? She's like, well, let's go over this, Shady, real quick. All right. I'm like, okay. She goes, you did opiates? I said, yeah. She said, how long? Is it 10 years? And you drank? I said, yeah. She said, how long? I said, a little over 20. She goes, and you smoke cigarettes? I'm like, yeah. She goes, how long? I said, a little over 25 years. And how much did you smoke? Pack or two a day, consistently, 25 years. She's like, yeah, that's why. That's why.
And all of the stuff we put in our mouth that's carcinogenic.
Yeah.
Our food in the U.S. How can you eat stuff, all of those additives, and not get cancer? Like, yeah, I'm surprised that we don't have it more prevalent.
I want to wrap it up with this. Now we're at you. You're 53, right?
I'll be 53 this year in November. Yeah.
53, you're killing it. You've been sober 14 years. Congrats.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Do
you.
you work an active program in recovery?
I live AA every single day. I don't go to meetings hardly anymore, but I live the steps.
The steps. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
agree
live
with
the steps.
that.
I live honestly. I help where I can help. I
Yeah.
give back, and I'm in communication with friends and family. And so I
The
do
trauma.
occasionally go to a meeting, but I don't
Yeah.
constantly.
Now, the trauma that you've had, especially growing up when you're younger, would you say, like you already said this to me, you lost all the trauma, you forgave all the trauma, or let go of all the trauma from your stepmom when she died, right?
No,
Okay.
I stopped having nightmares.
Okay, so how do you live with that trauma now, today, at 52, 53?
So what happened is, in 2018, I've mentioned having problems with picking men. I picked the wrong ones, and even sober, I picked the wrong ones. Like the 2 years sober, I picked one fresh out of prison, and I'll fix him. I'm a triple winner: AA, NA, and Al-Anon.
Yeah.
So anyway, to not go deep into it, I got into a relationship with a person who was in recovery for 2 years, in 2016. Great, loved him, was planning on marrying him. Today, I still call his kids my bonus kids.
Mhm.
Like, it was that kind of relationship. A month before we were supposed to get married, he had stopped working AA. He had joined a 1%er club. He came home and said, "I cheated on you 6 months ago with a bar horn behind the bar, one night 6 months ago. And I have an STD, and you might want to get checked." And so I went to the doctor the very next day, got checked. I was clean, no problems. And I said, "What do you want to do? How do you want to deal with this?" And he's like, "Well, what are you asking me to do?" And I said, "I'm asking you to commit to the family." And he heard quit the club, and he dove into a bottle. He left and dove into a bottle, and said that he left in order to protect me, because he knew he couldn't be that person diving into a bottle around me. And he didn't want to bring me down, is what he said. So, so how that leads to my childhood trauma being fixed.
How do you live with it? Nothing's ever fixed, but you find a way to live with it. That's what I think.
So when he left, I was suicidal. I had a gun. He gave my gun back to me when he left. I had a plan. God saved me, because the day I was going to do that, my car turned into my sponsor's work, and stuff came out of my mouth that on my plan, that I didn't plan on telling her, but telling her that I had a plan to take my own life. And so that kind of cut that out. I decided to try to just be okay to be here, instead of, "Oh, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here physically or anything." So a couple of weeks later, a friend at a meeting gave me a book, and it's called The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. I started reading it, and I'm like, this is some bullshit, Toltec this and dream that. But I went back and started over and actually read it.
You didn't skim it, you read it.
I read it.
Yeah.
And I read it, and I've read it probably 6 or 7 times over and over and over, whenever I find myself in that kind of headspace that I need to remind myself, But this book showed me why none of my relationships worked. Like, I kept picking men based on what I thought I could help them become.
Yeah.
Not what they were showing me. Like, this guy's fresh out of prison, and I expect him to be a perfect boyfriend and get a job and, pay rent. And why isn't he doing that? And I say, it's like I'm looking for birds, but I keep picking dogs and cats, and I'm allergic to dogs and cats, and they're barking, and I'm like, why aren't you tweeting a beautiful song? You know, that's the perfect picture of what my life with these men were. And even with that fiance, like, I saw him going downhill. I romanticized our relationship. I made it was perfect, and it wasn't perfect, but I dealt with it the best that I could in order to be happy. And so I read The Mastery of Love, and then she gave me this one. And I'm not trying to like sell these or anything. This is what saved me.
No,
like,
I want you to actually message when we're done, like as soon as you can, message me so I know the names exactly. So I can put them in this.
Like, I pulled these out because I was talking to the neighbor girl, and she's like, oh, tell me the names of those books. I said, I got you one better. I got about 7 or 8 of them each, where I order them off of eBay and hand them out. Like, literally, these saved my life.
That's the 4 Agreements or whatever. What's that one? What's that other one?
This one's the 4 Agreements.
I knew it. See, you proud? I knew that one.
So after I read The Mastery of Love, she gave me the 4 Agreements. The 4 Agreements is the first one. The Mastery of Love is the second one, but she said I was so sick I needed the second one first.
Jump right to the sequel. You gotta go to the sequel right now.
So I'm reading the 4 Agreements, and I'm like, you know, it's telling me that I can take back those agreements that I didn't actually agree to. And I saw the things that my stepmother told me. You're fat, you're ugly, you're a piece of shit, you're no good, you're never going to amount to anything. And I'm like, I inadvertently agreed to those. Like, I am replaying them over in my head because I'm agreeing that I'm a piece of shit, I'm no good. I believe those. And so what I did is I read the book, and I was like, I'm going to do this exercise. I wrote down the things that she said to me in one column. And in the other column, I wrote down the things that I believe today. And I had my Zen roommate. And I think because he was a big, strong, muscular man, I don't know why that made any difference, but it did. Because I also had trouble with men, you know, abusing me as well. So he would read, "You're fat." And I said, I rebuke that agreement. I no longer believe that. I believe I am a healthy weight. You're ugly. I rebuke that. He said, you're ugly. I rebuke that agreement. I no longer believe that I am fat or I'm ugly. I am beautiful because I am made after God's image. And everybody is beautiful. You know, it's society that's ugly. You know, and so on and so forth. And I went through all of these things that she said to me that I was replaying over and over in my head, and actually writing it down on paper, like I was saying earlier, saying it out loud.
Letting it go. When you keep it inside, it has full control over you. When you say it out loud, you're letting it go. I call for burning desire sometimes twice in a night, because I want people to let it go. Leave it here, I'll take it with you. You know?
And in these books, it talks about the inner critic, and like,
I know that one.
I'm like sober over a decade, and you know, like, I didn't find out that the voices in my head aren't me until, you know, I'm like 8 years sober. Like, what the inner critic? What are you talking about? Oh, that person that chats in your head and tells you you're fat or you're ugly or you're never going to make it. You know, oh, you're not good enough for that job. Like, that's not me. I didn't know. So like, that's one thing that I try to tell teenagers and young people today. I'm like, you got that little voice in your head that says this and that. That's not you. That's called an inner critic, or other people call it their disease. You know, I've called it both. You know, I've talked to people that don't have it.
No one has ever been more mean to me than myself. Nobody has ever said anything as harsh and as mean and disgusting and gross and volatile and fucked up than that inner critic had to me.
Did you know that not everybody has that?
Yeah.
Not everybody has that inner dialogue. I was talking to my husband which, I met in sobriety at a
Uh-huh.
motorcycle rally. 6 months later, I moved in with him, and then I got married to him last year, and we're just living this fairy tale life in Tennessee. He's the most amazing man. And I was talking to him, I'm like, do you have the little voice inside your head that tells you you're stupid or you're fat or like, he's like, no, one time when I was a kid, like, I heard a voice in my head that told me something, but I was like, shut up. I don't believe that. And just went on. I'm like, you're weird.
Is he one of those guys that can just put his head in a pillow and fall asleep right away?
He's a normie. Like he could, like he tells a story about going and buying some cocaine a while back. And like he went to the bar and they were doing bumps and like everybody kept pestering him for it. So he just threw it down and said, I'm gonna go home, go to bed.
Go to bed. Yeah,
what the hell is wrong with you? He's one that he'll have a Bloody Mary or a double drink in a tall glass. And I'm like, baby, you want me to drive? You want another drink? And he's like, no, I think I've had enough.
One was good.
Or I had a drink earlier. I don't want anything right now. We're just eating dinner.
I'll never understand it. I had a relapse, April. I had a relapse 13 months into recovery. I relapsed on alcohol. I was the home group I was going to fucking sucked, and I resented them, and I drank over it. I'll be honest with you. This is what happened. On my 13th month anniversary, I drank, and I drove to the liquor store. I bought a 6-pack of Twisted Tea, went to my apartment. I poured the first 2 out, and then I drank the other 4. And I said, well, non-alcoholic, because an alcoholic wouldn't be able to pour the first 2 out. But only an alcoholic would think that way. Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're an alcoholic.
If you question if you're an alcoholic, most likely you probably are.
Yeah, and what I should have done was drink the first 4 and then see if I could pour the last 2 out. But no, I poured the first 2 out first.
But since I've read these books and I've read them over and over, and just like the steps, I apply them in my life. I in AA, one of the 4 agreements is, just be honest, just blunt honesty. And, so I can look at myself and be like, am I lying to myself? Am I being honest with myself? But also, like, when I'm talking to people, like, I'm not lying. Like, I will tell you the truth. Sometimes I tell too much truth and I come off as crass or uncaring. But like, sometimes some people need that and they need to hear it, if they've asked me for it. Other times I've offered my opinion and had to make amends because, they didn't ask for my opinion and I offered it anyway. So but live and learn. I started reading these books, like I said, in 2018, and it's, 2026, and my life is just amazing. It's applying these things and not allowing my thought. Like I used to do this thing where if I had these intrusive thoughts, like playing, oh my God, my ex, where is he now? What's going on with him? Like right after he left me.
Yeah.
And before I read these books, and I would like take my brain into another like dimension. Like I'd go to the cat world where the cats are the people and the people are the pets.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God, do they have a problem with fentanyl being in their catnip, and stupid stuff like that, just to get my brain away from that over and over and over and overthinking. But in reading these books, when those thoughts start coming in now, it's like, just go away, shut up, and they stop coming as often. I still have them every once in a while. Like I'll look in the mirror and be like, oh, like, my stomach. So I've lost 85 pounds in the last year and a half.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I had a little help from a weight loss clinic. I did not go with the Fin. I went with the semaglutide shot, but I also paired it with counting macros.
Okay.
So, and I'm getting myself off of the shot. I am down to maintenance. I've maintained since since May, and I'm getting myself new boobies.
Nice. Congratulations.
To reward myself. You know, you work towards it. You reach that goal. I went from 212 to 130, and actually 128 is what I got to, but I'm going between 128 and 131. Yeah. So as long as I'm there, I'm good. Yeah. So I still weigh food and portion it out, and you know, every once in a while, like last night we had cards. Huh?
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was going to say we had a card game, and I made pineapple upside down cake, and you know, I ate some meatballs and had some cake, and you know, but back on it today, and you know, just making sure I don't go overboard, because I'm not only a problem when it comes to drugs and alcohol and people, but I found out I'm an overeater. I didn't know that calories came from 4 calories for carbs, 4 calories for protein, and 9 calories for fats. I had no idea that's where the calories came from on a label.
I know. I never knew that.
I was 50 years old when I started doing this. It's like, what? I just thought it was a number they pulled out of their ass or something. Like,
listen, you don't know.
No. And once I found out that I was consuming 3 to 4 to 5,000 calories a day, I'm like, how the hell am I not 300 pounds? Yeah. So now that I know, and that's the biggest thing, is knowing. Yeah. You know, just like reading these books, the biggest thing is knowing that that's the inner critic, that's my disease, that's the talker in there, that I don't have to listen to it, I don't have to entertain it, I don't have to put up with it. I can just tell it to shut up. And now, you know, I'm able to control those intrusive thoughts to where they're a minimum. They still come, but they're easily dealt with, you know. Just like right now, my neck hurts.
How'd you sleep today? How are you sleeping?
Last night I didn't sleep very well. I got to bed at 3:00 because we played cards last night. So I got up. I got 6 hours.
Nice. Okay.
In general? Yeah. In general, pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a watch that like keeps track of the sleeping and yeah. So it says that I get like an hour and a half to 2 hours of REM sleep a night.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So on some nights, on other nights, it's only like a half an hour, but you know,
you don't even sleep 2 hours a night. In REM. So yeah, you're killing me.
I wake up every so often to pee because, you know, I'm an older lady and I drink a lot of water, and I drink a bottle of water at night and go pee, and then drink a bottle of water and go pee. And, you know,
I've been awake since Thursday morning.
Since when?
Thursday morning.
What?
No naps or anything. But you probably can't even tell that I've been awake that long.
No.
Severe insomnia. I'm bipolar. So I'm manic right now because of Tuesday. I'm so nervous and anxious about this test. And then, like, I don't even know what the result's going to be for 1 to 3 weeks. So, you know, I have so much, like, in my head right now. And, you know, I can't sleep. I just lay there. And, I've been awake since Thursday morning. And for the viewers, it's Sunday night.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell my energy-wise. I'm not low energy when I've been awake this long, because I'm manic as fuck.
See, like I said, I only have the CPTSD diagnosis. Since these books and everything, like I've not had the thought of killing myself. I've not had the anxiety or the depression. Like, I see the questions at the doctor's office, and I'm like, no problems there. Like, so.
Yeah, please message me those books when we hop off, so I can put them in the description for anybody watching. Thank you so much. Taking time. It took 2 hours this time. we
talk very well together. Yeah. We talk very well together. Yeah. So.
And it's very enjoyable getting to know you again. And, you know, once we start talking, like, I remember her story. I remember. Now I remember. And it was very nice talking to you again and hearing your story more in detail, because last time it was all about addiction. Yeah. And this time we really focused on the trauma.
Yeah. We kind of just skipped over most of the addiction, went straight into the end of it. Because, I I numbed myself. Not only numbed the pain, the physical pain, but the emotional pain. Like,
Yeah.
if you can't tell, I have all of these tattoos.
Hey,
Yeah. So I started getting tattoos in recovery.
I
I
had
mean,
one.
I had some before, but I
One.
started using the tattoos to deal with the emotional pain before I went to therapy. And even in therapy, I'd go and get the tattoos because I was a cutter. Like, that's how I expressed, got that emotional pain out through causing physical pain, and tattoos are perfect.
You have to tell me that at the end. Wait, now I got questions. When did you start cutting, and how did you learn what cutting was? Who taught you what cutting was? Because when did you start cutting for the first time?
I actually started burning myself first,
With ice
and then cutting.
Okay,
So
so yeah,
I was a teenager. I started doing it at my mom's. I don't remember how I found out to do that.
my best friend was a cutter, and she started with ice, and
Mhm.
she started with cutting, and then she started using ice, and people started noticing the scars, and went back and forth with the ice and the cutting up until a few years ago. And she saw it in a magazine when she was 11. She saw it like in a teen magazine, like
Wow.
what not to do. And then when she got raped for the first time when she was 11, she's like, I know what I'm going to do, and cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they did to that.
I just learned that, that physical expression, the physical pain, it turns that emotional pain into a physical outlet.
Yeah.
And so, and the tattoos, that's perfect because you have something beautiful as a result of that. But what happens
going across and going, oh, something's wrong with her?
But what happens when you heal? You go through therapy and you heal all of that emotional pain. These things fucking hurt. I can sit through a 3-hour session, but I cannot sit through a 7 or 8 hour session like I used to. I could, I could take it. And now I can't because I don't have any emotional pain to fucking use it. So they hurt.
Yeah, I get all smalls. I have 55, I think, roughly, but they're all smalls. Maybe some mediums. I remember I got my tax return back. Last thing I'll say, we're going long. I got my tax return back a few years ago, and I called up the guy who did my other tattoos before. I said, hey, you did this for me. I want to come back in on this date. I got my taxes back. He goes, what do you want? He goes, I was like, I don't know. Book 4 hours, and we'll figure it out when I get there.
Yeah, a friend of mine saw a picture of me in the ocean, and she's like, why do you have tube socks on? And it's just because I have it up to right below the knee on both legs. And I'm like, those are my tattoos. So awesome. I'm starting to get the most painful places and with no emotional pain to deal with it. Yeah, it's a little bit at a time. So
yeah, progress not perfection, like my other progress not perfection.
Yeah.
Thanks, April, again so much. And if you're looking for those books she was talking about, they're gonna be in the description.
Yes.
And check them out because obviously, you're very happy and healthy. And I know about this book. My wife used them. So awesome. Thank you so much, April. Have a nice night.
Thank you for having me. Bye. And I'll say prayers for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.